House of Chinara, a project which is anchored in sustainability and green energy. I want to thank the Zimbabwe Embassy in the United Kingdom, the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange, the London Stock Exchange for affording us this opportunity. I need to see how we work this. Okay. With a humble yet inclusive approach to business based on the philosophy of hard work and with a long history of giving back to his community and giving back to the environment, he has been recognized as CEO of the Year in Zimbabwe, and his company has been recognized as Company of the Year. He is the visionary, Mr. Aaron Chinara. Allow me to take you where it all began, to the beginning of the beginning, at the playground of the giants in Zimbabwe, home of one of Africa's most breathtaking landscapes and star-filled skies. So let me start you off with the movie.
The cosmos, an unexplained phenomenon. It brought the start of man's journey. Hunters and gatherers found their way to the stars, one adventure with many heroes. To travel this path back in time requires imagination, but imagination alone cannot adequately capture the wondrous reality of nature. It is a feeling that comes from an authentic connection, a connection with the earth. At the heart you'll find the magnificence that is Africa. Constantly in motion, a divine intervention, part of the circle of life. At her fingertips lies Zimbabwe, great Zimbabwe. It is in the stone of the great ruins where her history is protected by warriors and explored by wanderers. Vast land that presents itself is home to life, wild and free, a civilization steeped in history and allure. It is the echoes of the past that helps us understand the present and prepares us for the future. And it is at the feet of giants where we will witness the impossible. The beginning of the beginning. Discover Victoria Falls.
His vision, the vision of the House of Chinara, is built on 3 pillars of sustainable development. These pillars are property hospitality portfolio, a mining beneficiation portfolio, and foundational work. 3 pillars so diametrically opposite and yet so crucial to his country's well-being. To our first pillar, hospitality. Imagine a forest and a river, the Great Zambezi, rumbling towards the torrents of the Great Victoria Falls. Imagine treetop lodges lying in amongst the foliage of the trees, above the elephant paths. Imagine the first Six Senses hotel in continental Africa, brought to you by the House of Chinaro. Constructed with minimal disruption to the environment, with renewable energy sources, with sustainable sourcing of materials and supplies, on 40 hectares of pristine land that has been secured with a long-term lease, with more than 2 kilometers of river frontage overlooking the smoke that thunders, the Victoria Falls. Oh, why doesn't this?
You have to press the...
We have designed a 57-key exclusive 5-star plus luxury lodge built 5 to 7 meters above ground level. In amongst the foliage of the trees on the banks of the Zambezi River, with a mixture of 1 to 3 bedroom lodges and suites, and of which the 6 keys are 4 and 5 bedroom, 6 senses private residences. A home away from home, where you can get away from the hustle and bustle of everyday life and sit amongst the treetops and watch the sunset over the Zambezi and enjoy the elephants playing on the banks of the river and indulge in a wellness spa experience in amongst the rustling of the leaves. And to complement this forest getaway, we have designed an urban paradise with a lush internal courtyard some 2,000 meters away in the urban center of the town of Victoria Falls. Here, on 1.2 hectares of owned land, we have designed a 5-star, 100-key Palazzo Hotel Resort with 4 private penthouses, with state-of-the-art conference facilities for 300 delegates, restaurants, a luxury spa, and a retail component managed by the Vignette collection of IHG. We have signed a hotel management agreement with Six Senses, and for the urban site, we have signed a hotel management agreement with the Vignette collection. Both are luxury lifestyle brands belonging to the IHG Group, which has a loyalty program numbering 100 million plus members. The development cost for both hotels amounts to a total of $170 million, of which to date the principal has injected approximately $10 million. This brings the average cost per key for the entire project to just over $981,000, well within the luxury hotel construction cost constraints. Figures verified by Six Senses and by HVS. The estimated financial revenues for the entire project over a period of 10 years exceed $137 million per year at an ADR of $1,542.
Just change your slide, Nico.
Sorry. This gives an average annual distributable income after tax of 16.2 million and an estimated average ROI of 14.7%. The estimated operational date is the 4th quarter of 2024 for both sites. Our key professional team comprises of what we consider to be the most seasoned team in the hospitality space. All well experienced with many international hospitality projects in their portfolios. This team has partnered with well-established teams in Zimbabwe, providing the project with the best in professional support, knowledge and expertise. Our core belief is that of true sustainability. The project will look to satisfy a number of factors in order to achieve the level of sustainability that for us and the founder are a prerequisite. The great thing here, and also one of the reasons for our selection of the specific hotel management companies, is that their and our view on social impact are directly aligned. We're looking at issues such as the upliftment and empowerment of the local communities through the creation of approximately 500 direct jobs and about 1,500 indirect, both through construction phase and the operation phase. We're looking at a creation of a community trust that will be responsible for upgrading existing infrastructure and building new infrastructure where this is proven to be necessary. Roads, schools, clinics. We're looking at the protection of wildlife and assistance to existing initiatives, such as those of the Zim Parks and the Akashinga, as well as the creation of a wildlife sanctuary. These two hotels spearhead the property portfolio. Mr. Chinara has secured sites in the Chobe, Kariba, Manapools, Wangi, and Kanyemba, all United Nations World Heritage Sites, where we plan to build further hospitality projects. And here we say farewell to the hospitality component and we move on to mining. And here's where I feel very small compared to my other speakers. So our second pillar is mining. To quote the legendary billionaire Ray Dalio, if you don't own gold, you know neither history nor economics. For the time being, we will concentrate on the gold mines, even though there are other minerals in the portfolio, such as lithium, much talked about, nickel, copper, manganese, and others. As you all know, gold has become the talk of the day. Gold prices over the last 30 years have 5x'd, and the current world economic and monetary climate allows for predictions that support the continuation of this trend. Having predicted the trend of the value of gold, coupled with the reforms that are being implemented, Mr. Chinara has for several years now been acquiring gold prospects. Amongst others, he has the first 5 prospects of 166 gold claims, on which exploratory work has already begun, and for which there are promising production figures. There are other parcels of land that have been acquired and on which the company is preparing for exploration. So in this slide, we basically just pinpoint where these 5 prospects are. Without going into too much detail, the project will be split into medium scale and large scale gold mining, and will, with toll milling operations focused on some of the prospects. The mining methods used will depend on the actual geological morphology of the prospects and will vary between open cast mining and underground mining. As I mentioned earlier, we are well into the exploratory phase and we have promising results. Based on geological surveys, the work done today, the gold deposit thus far, even though they look small compared to the previous producer, we're looking at an inferred resource of 27,000 kilos of gold, or 888,000 ounces, with an in-situ tonnage of approximately 5.5 million tons of ore to a depth of 100 meters below surface. The gold deposits have been conservatively graded at between 4 to 5 grams per ton. The potential revenues based on current market gold prices can conservatively exceed $1.5 billion. We all know that the development of a mining asset is complex, lengthy, and potentially very expensive activity. In order to mitigate the risks associated with the process, a phased approach is recommended. These phases include the initial assessment of the prospects, exploration, determining feasibility, and building and later operating. The final time span is primarily dependent on environmental and geological factors. I'm going to go straight to this. In this slide, we can see on the left the phases, the approximate duration and the funding requirements. On the right, the expected capex requirements per mine. The social impact is a key concern for Mr. Chinara, more so for the mining component than the hospitality component. It is estimated that we will create more than 1,300 direct permanent jobs and more than 5,000 indirect jobs as a result of the investment in the activities in the areas. In addition, the company is committed to social responsibility and environmental sustainability through implementation of the renewable energy projects. As a result, through the actions of Rare Earth Foundation, special emphasis is placed on the upliftment of the local communities, the providing of community services and infrastructure, the rehabilitation of the land that is mined. Again, true to his character, Mr. Chinara has acquired various assets which will be included in the mining portfolio. In amongst these, he owns some assets in lithium. As we are well aware, Zimbabwe ranks in the top 5 producers in the world for lithium. The foundation, the Rare Earth Foundation, is an international non-profit organization dedicated to providing care and assistance to the Victoria Falls National Parks, Animal Kingdom, with special emphasis on creating a multifaceted approach that involves local community outreach, rescue and rehabilitation programs, and educational ecotourism operations. The geographical areas of influence have been expanded to include the areas of the mining projects. Corporate structures have been set up. Holding company is in Mauritius, subsidiaries are in Zimbabwe. We have obtained the necessary approvals, including the ZEDA approvals. Funding. These are the total funding requirements. We are a greenfield project. So we're looking at the property portfolio at $160 million. We're looking at the mining portfolio with the beneficiation $300 million. And for the foundational work, we have set a target at $40 million. The capital raise will be phased according to the cash flow requirements. We are in the process of preparing for an initial listing. So we're new to the game with respect to the VFX, and we're very confident about it. And then we're looking for a secondary listing on the AIM in London. For the hospitality, we will be initially listing a debenture scheme with a 10% return, which will be redeemable at the end of year 2, at the end of construction, with an option to convert the debenture to REIT parts. For the mining, we will be proceeding with a direct issue of shares listed on the Victoria Falls Exchange. There are various benefits to the investors, which I've outlined here and which we can discuss, but for the sake of time, I will just briefly go through. One thing which I must add, okay, because one of the advantages that we've got here is that we're not looking only at the results of the individual operations, which will give the potential investors comfort. Mr. Chinara has, like I said earlier, acquired other properties which he is going to put into these portfolios. So the increase in the value will not come only from the profitability of the projects, it will also come due to the increase in the asset base. I've timed out. Thank you for listening to me. It's been an exciting journey for us, and like I said earlier, I'm truly humbled to be amongst what I consider the top entrepreneurs in Zimbabwe. Mr. Minister, thank you so much.